What's up, everybody? Rothstein here, Betting Public Sports Show. I'm your beloved host, Fame Rothstein, a.k.a. Bay O Wolf. Today is Sunday, January 4th, 2026. Please like and subscribe to the show. Leave comment, share the content, all right? Because I'm going to try and be brief on here today. As you can see, it's early. Here in the Republic of Cincinnati. I still got frost on my car. I haven't even started it yet to just because I just wanted to get into this real quick. First of all, no sports investing action today. It's Bizarro week in the NFL. Leave it the hell alone. Stay away from it. It's Bizarro week. Anything can happen. Just wait till the playoffs next week, all right? We'll be back. But speaking of NFL, I want to talk about two former NFL players. Former cornerback, Asante Samuel, and former quarterback, Heisman winner, and MVP 2015, I believe, Cameron Jarrell Newton. As you know, Cam Newton runs the fourth and one podcast. What is I guess I don't recognize the guy from the NFL, but I don't know if that's Cam's homeboy or whatever. But some cat named Peggy. No disrespect to him, I just don't recognize his background. But some cat named Peggy that he runs with. And Cam, in recent weeks and months, he's been going at Gilly the Kid, Gilly of Barstool fame and whatnot. Former rapper. I mean, Cam been just like lighting him up, calling him a failed rapper and whatnot, things like that. Because Cam for the last couple seasons, and now Cam's on ESPN. He came out saying black quarterbacks will never get the money Tom Brady gets on from broadcasting, things like that. But what he said that was interesting that you got to really kind of take note is that Cam has this thing about who are game managers and game changers. Which quarterbacks are actually game managers and game changers. Game managers are basically system guys. Don't turn the ball over. They don't have many. They don't get many audibles. A lot of carry plays, call and run it, CARI. Things like that. Their basic job is just to not lose the game, not win the game, but not lose the game. And he's talking to a list of players. One of them being Jalen Hurts. He said Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback. That's what him and Jalen Hurts of Philly. That's why him and Gilly, the rapper, have been beefing because Gilly, he's, Philly and shit. Philly a bunch of, Philly will ride for each other. I'll say for that because, all of them, everybody that was notable from Philly, took Will Smith's side on that Chris Rock shit, and it was just like, wow, really? Y'all are delusional. But I digress. So, yeah, Cam, and he doing that. And then now Asante Samuel just kind of hit the podcast market. I don't know how long he's been on the podcast, but 6 months ago, he was going at Deion Sanders, saying that, Deion was overrated. He was just as good as Deion, if not better, blah, 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 putting their stats and saying all this and shit. It was just like, bruh, you ain't gonna never win no points saying that you'll never win. He'll win with this generation because this generation, these young guys right now, they don't know they wasn't there. We were there. We saw Deion wasn't getting no action. Motherfuckers wasn't throwing at him. Because like Deion said, the fear isn't just that I'm going to intercept it. That's a hell of a percentage that I'm going to run it back for a touchdown. So they going at that, and they kind of cleared that up. Deion came on his podcast, talked to him, and blah, blah, blah. And they cleared that up for the most part, I guess. But Asante is kind of but if you ask me, Asante Samuel is now becoming the Kwame Brown of football. Kwame Brown, former basketball player, another podcaster now. when he started podcasting on YouTube, going live and all that shit, he was going up, basically retelling his own career, trying to make people think that, okay, I actually was a very effective basketball player, this, that, and the other, and besides, y'all can't call me a bust. This was a hell of a line. I'll give him credit for it. I put my mama on a golf course at age 19. Saying, so how can I be a bust? That was the line that really that solidified Kwame into the podcast sphere. And so now lately, you take Cam Newton talking about, I guess he said something about the New England quarterback, Drake May, and Asante, who, played for New England, won Super Bowls with him with New England and I believe Philly against New England. Asante, like, Cam ain't never been no game changer. He's only been a game changer once. 1 year in his career, this, that, and the other. So now these two are going to start beefing. I have not seen a reply from Cam yet, but I'm sure he will, because Cam don't take shit lightly. He will talk that shit. And he's relentless. And it's just like, damn, Asante, like, why'd you go at dude like that? There was no need to go at Cam. I mean, Cam's allowed to talk about the quarterbacks. He was a quarterback. Even if it was 1 year, as you say, he's allowed to say who's a game manager and who's a game changer. Cam was a game changer for at least 1 year when he was the MVP in 2015. However, that's another thing too. Y'all gonna leave Cam alone about that fumble in the Super Bowl. Okay? He didn't dive on it. Like, you ever seen a quarterback throw a pick six and doesn't even try to tackle the quarterback, doesn't try to tackle the DB, doesn't even make it a point to it. I remember hearing about how Miami versus, I think it was the Raiders. Chris Dolman used to play for the Vikings. He had went to the Raiders. Marino threw a pick and the Raiders were taking it back. And some young Raiders player was about to smoke Dan Marino. Chris Dolman held him back. Like, no, you don't hit him like that. He ain't trying to get in the play. Leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so like y'all need to leave Cam alone about that. Like, if I was the quarterback, I don't know if I would go for that ball on the ground either. Even though it is the Super Bowl, damn, I think I can make another one at some point. I need my arms. But nonetheless, Asante Samuel, like he even reached out to Gerald McCoy, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer player. I remember the name from the Buccaneers, I want to say. And Gerald McCoy, he said, has Cam ever been a game changer? If so, when? And Gerald McCoy did not take Asante Samuel's side out. He was like, man, no. He's like, Cam was the scheme. He's like, we had Cam when it was a young C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey. He was like, and Cam was that, like, Cam was the focal point of the whole offense. He's like, we shut down, we set up, our defense was that week was to stop Cam, not the scheme, because Cam was the scheme. He said something like that, and it was just like, yeah, Asante, like, you ain't getting no points, like, trying to go at dude like that. Like, what is you talking about, bruh? Like, Cam was that nigga. He can talk that shit about these quarterbacks. Yeah, he wasn't the most prolific passer. No, he wasn't Peyton Manning. Wasn't Tom Brady. That wasn't his game. But the fact that he could put down, he could, make his throws. He had a good arm and whatnot. But pull the ball down and run. The fact that he could do that, that's what made him different. And I think Gerald McCoy even said, like, Cam was like a game changer until a certain injury. I think it was against Pittsburgh or something like that. So it's like, yeah. Pardon me, guys. I got a little bit of indigestion. But yeah, man, it's like, Asante, why's you bothering? Like, why's you fucking with people that ain't shooting at you? Like you did that with Dion. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. But I mean, it's kind of but see, everybody, it's kind of like what I said about sports and rapper podcasts, like retired jock and rapper podcasts. All they do is dick ride each other. The jocks telling you that they're better than they were, and the rappers, dick ride the other rappers, and it's just like, yeah. But Asante, but see, like I said, these jocks, they get the ones that are from their era to jock them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, if you're going to go out there and tell the truth, don't just be out there just talking because you got a microphone and played. We watched. Okay, we wasn't in the locker room. We didn't go to training and practice with you and whatnot, but we were in the, we watched and played. We know a little bit about running, blocking, and tackling. We know a little about passing, shooting, and dribbling. You know what I'm saying? We know a little bit about pitching and hitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is y'all like? Y'all ain't fooling nobody. Y'all just talking shit. Holding on to your fame that you had as a player. And that's all Asante's doing. It's like, bro, like, I want to fuck with Asante Samuel, but that's 2 now. He gets a 3rd, I'm out. If I see a 3rd, I'm out. I'm done with dude. Like, leave people alone that ain't shooting at you. You want to be on network TV or something, make more than this little podcast money? Because when I understand, you still get more on ESPN than you will on your podcast. For what I understand, or maybe you won't. I don't know. But yeah, leave the brother alone. Cam Newton did his thing. So when he talks about these current NFL quarterbacks, I tend to listen to him, whether I agree or not. But now, to Asante's credit, he made a point that inadvertently he didn't mean to make. Because 25 years ago, I think it was when, who was that guy from Ohio State? Troy Smith that won the Heisman. Just some of these guys, when these dual threat quarterbacks were starting to become the norm. I remember telling a guy, I was like, it's just a brother who can, it's just a athlete who can throw a little bit. Because, plenty of guys, when if you play, sports or, just playing sports in the neighborhood, there were guys who could run and throw a little bit, just enough to say they were quarterback, but they were really not quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, and that's what they're starting to talk about, these guys in the NFL now, all these dual quarterbacks, they're not NFL quarterbacks because they can't play from the pocket. If Cam would have if Asante would have went there, his point would go over much better. But just trying to go at Cam, nah, B. That's not it. But let me know what you think. Does Asante Samuel have a point? Was Cam only a game changer for 1 year? Or is Asante just off his rocker right now? And mad because Asante probably should be in the Hall of Fame. But like I said, the thing with him was, as a cornerback, he was a little bit of a game manager. He was a system player. That's the knock on him as a corner. Now whether that's true or not, we'll have to go over some more tape and see. But New England, like his time in New England, definitely he's looked at as a system player because New England, it was all about the system. It was all about Belichick and Brady. Belichick known for being a defensive stalwart, going back to the 80s with Lawrence Taylor. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments and holler back at me. Peace.